Well, hello, everybody. Good afternoon, buenas tardes, buenos días, and good morning, depending on where you are. My name is Fabian Koss, and it's a pleasure to be moderating this panel today on innovative and sustainable investment opportunities at the Women Entrepreneurs Forum. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Met and Georgetown University's Latin American Leadership Program for their leadership in organizing such an incredible event. In my former life, I spent 26 years at the Inter-American Development Bank, where I led and developed all the youth development initiatives. So innovation and sustainable investment go hand in hand and really deep into my heart. With no further ado, I'd like to introduce a dear friend of mine, Juan Verde. I'm going to give you some background information on our speakers. Juan is an internationally renowned strategist for both the public and private sectors, who particularly focuses on green exports and attracting foreign direct investment to this field. Juan, I want to congratulate you because 2 weeks ago he was appointed by President Biden to the President's Export Council. We've worked over the course on many initiatives, and over his career, Juan has served as a consultant for a variety of prestigious companies, institutions, and governments, such as Santander Bank, the Inter-American Development Bank, Harvard University, the World Bank, and several governments, as well as numerous governors and mayors in Latin America. Currently, Juan is a member of the board of directors of Hispasat, the leading satellite communications operator in Spain, Portugal, and Latin America, and is a member of the Airbus Foundation Board of Advisors and the American Sustainable Network. Juan holds a master's degree in public policy from Harvard and a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and International Relations from Boston University. I would also like to take this opportunity to introduce my new friend, Mario Ramos, originally from Honduras. Mario is a TV producer, filmmaker, and a 7-time Emmy Award winner. He has given conferences on leadership, entrepreneurship, gender equality, and the art of telling stories, which is so important in different parts of Latam. He is the executive director and founder of Cabeza Hueca Films and the president of the Latino Executive Network, and co-founder of Agrafos, a magazine of literature, art, and politics. He is also very involved in social development and is an honorary ambassador of Plan International of Honduras. And last but not least, our third panelist, Natalia Bayona, who's the leader in innovation and digital transformation at the World Tourism Organization, UNWTO. She's a joint Colombian-Spain representative, and she's going to join us today via video. So Natalia, welcome.
Hi, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here today with all of you. First of all, remember that 4 years ago, when our Secretary General Surab Pololikashvili came to the UNWTO, he decided to include innovation, technology as part of one of his strongest pillars. Of course, today, the UNWTO has at least 5 priorities inside this house: innovation and digital transformation, education, investments, sustainability, and of course, added value jobs. Today, we would like to start this amazing conference with how these pillars can help us to create a better society, how these pillars can help us to create a better tourism sector. Why innovation is crucial? Innovation is crucial because it's the power of youth. Thanks to innovation, we have the power to give the voice to the most youngest generations that it has. Different solutions when technology is part of the new ventures. When we talk about technology, remember that the startup ecosystem is key in order to talk about a sustainable innovation. When I talk about the innovation ecosystem, I'm talking about adding value to the 6 actors of the ecosystem that are, as you know, innovators, entrepreneurs, startups, governments, institutions or accelerators, innovation labs, corporates, investors, and the academia. Without those 6 working together, it's impossible to talk about a sustainable innovation. Without innovation, without education, without investments, we cannot talk about a sustainable tourism. And without empowering youth, we cannot talk about the tourism sector that is the most important sector for them. I wish you all the best, and I just want to encourage you to join us and to join all the programs that the UNWTO is running today for better, for the good of our society, and of course, for achieving our common agenda, that is the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you.
Thanks, Natalia. I mean, that was music to my ears, especially when she talks about the power of young people and incorporating them into the development process. Juan, she talks about this innovation ecosystem, that it's about collaboration. It's about bringing in and plugging and playing different players from different sectors, whether it's the private sector, the governmental sector, the NGO sector. You look at it from a big picture. I mean, you tackle these issues. I mean, you work. I always say, globally and locally as well. And looking at it from the global perspective and scale, what are the main challenges to this? I mean, I know we can talk about, till the sun comes down on all these areas, but when you look at this collaborative ecosystem, how does it really work together?
Thank you very much, Fabian. So good to see you. And thank you so much for the invitation to be here. I absolutely agree with you. If we're thinking about what are the main global challenges, both at the local and international level, when it comes to sustainability, yeah, you said it best. The list is long, right? Whether it's food security, lack of prosperity, how it affects poverty or inequality, and of course, how it affects access to healthcare. But for me, climate change is actually the greatest and most serious threat to a resilient, competitive global economy. So if I have to think of what is the greatest challenge, I would say that we must understand that there's a strong correlation between climate change and economic stability going forward, and therefore I think that like, to me, the ecosystem of organizations and people and companies that are working around the world on climate change have to work together. We need to listen to the scientists and the scientific community. And I'll just share some numbers with you because I think they speak volumes when it comes to understanding the real challenge. According to the World Food Program, 2.3 billion people, that's nearly 10% of the world's population, were food insecure last year in 2022. And of course, climate change is making this problem worse. It is actually disrupting food production and is causing more and more frequent severe weather catastrophes and events. So that's a big challenge. In addition to that, I recently read a report which is actually quite worrisome, that basically said that according to the IFC, climate change will generate or will cause at least 7 million premature deaths this year. That's a staggering number. And to me, it should be a wake-up call. Just to put it in perspective, right? The last 3 years of COVID have resulted in about 6.5 million people in 3 years. And that's COVID. And yet climate change is going to generate at least 7 million premature deaths this year. So are we thinking about challenges? Are we thinking about what are the threats? To me, this is it, right? One last piece of data that I want to share with you is that according to the same report published by the World Bank, we should expect by 2030 over 100 million people that will move into extreme poverty. And so if this is not a humanitarian crisis, I don't know what it is, right? And then a couple of months ago, about a month and a half ago, the World Economic Forum published that report that they share with the world every year, looking at what are the main challenges or threats to the economic world order going forward. And they came up with a list of 10 of the most severe likely risks to economic stability going forward. 6 out of 10 had everything to do with the climate change. So let me just wrap it up and say we have to understand what the threat is to economic stability. So in this forum where women are thinking about entrepreneurship, thinking about business opportunities, thinking about creating wealth for their communities, thinking about finding financing opportunities to create jobs and promote economic development, we must understand that relationship between climate change and economic progress.
Oh, that's incredible. I mean, numbers paint an interesting picture, and numbers don't lie. 100 million people by 2030 going to extreme poverty. I mean, when we think of 2030, we also think about the SDGs. So that's something that really, it's really hard to wrap around, but incredible fun. Thank you,
Thank
Mario.
you.
We talk about innovation and the impact that creativity has. We talk about the creative industries. The Inter-American Development Bank produced a really interesting report called La Economía Naranja, or the Orange Economy, which was led by former Colombian President Iván Duque, on the power, the economic power of the and the cost of the GDP of the creative industries from LATAM. Tell us a little bit about your experience in this sector and telling these stories. Mario.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So first, thank you for inviting me to this roundtable or conversation. First, I want to start with basically talk about a little bit about the creativity and innovation and how are they related but separate notions, and each is required for a workplace success. That is to say, they are not the same, but they are necessary one with another for succeed any business. And I normally work, and my day to day is work in using my creativity to develop my business in this case. But I think it's important to use that for every single thing we do. Listen to Juan, the last phrase he said about we have to be basically responsible how we make or create business. And I think one way to do that is be creative to how be not just making the ways to increase your business. Also, how you're going to do that is, I mean, how you're going to be responsible. I have one example. One few years ago, I was doing a documentary in Roatan, Honduras, and this documentary is about group of doctors who performs surgeries for free to the poor, really poor people in the island. And after that, we were thinking about how we can do something different with this documentary, how we can help the people with this documentary or this project. So one of the ideas to come to us is we started a new project. The project is developed the first green hospital in the island. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, for example, in my case, what I do is production, video production, right? Right. So through that, I was basically having new ideas to or develop creativity, new ideas for do something important for the society and also for the world, for the environment. So but basically what I'm trying to say is you have to use your creativity every single day in everything, and use your creativity to basically the creativity is the fuel for innovation to succeed, and we have to use both, not just creativity, not just innovation. We have to be creative, to use the innovation for succeed. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say.
Example of how, I mean, even though we're talking about obviously very serious challenges, you're also highlighting the good that there is in people and the good that there are in these solutions by, citing this example of these doctors who are working in Honduras and, in the most remote areas using innovation, and I'm sure the latest medical technology available that's working for them. Juan, it's interesting. I mean, I'm teaching at a business school now. The young people, when they're choosing then they want to go into business and study business and get their MBAs. The business schools are adapting themselves to be able to address these issues and have sustainability minors and really work on this. So can and we're looking at the advancements in Europe on the ESG policies and the U.S. private sector following suit on these issues. Can businesses do good, I mean, from a ROI perspective, from a bottom line perspective, while doing good from a social return on investment, from an ROI to an SROI?
Oh my God, I would not have thought of a better way to put it. I think if you want to be competitive in the 21st century, you have to be in a business model that allows you to not only do good but also do well. And to me, sustainability is, it has to make sense from a moral and ethical standpoint, but that's not what we're here to talk about today, right? Because that's a wonderful question. I propose to you and all the people that are listening to us around the world, women entrepreneurs and people that are interested in creating companies and growing their companies, I propose to you that sustainability makes, first and foremost, economic sense. It makes economic sense from an innovation standpoint. It makes perfect sense when it comes to technology, when it comes to remaining competitive, or finding the right people and those young people that are going to join your company and make you more competitive. I used to have a professor at Harvard Kennedy School of Government that used to say that if you want to predict or compare what is a passing economic trend or fashionable economic trend, and determine whether it's basically a fad or it's a solid and inevitable disruptive economic force, what you really have to do is follow the money, understand where the capital flows are going. And I say that because I am absolutely certain that if you look at where the money's going, and it has been going for the last 10 years, the money's going to the green space, right? So let me give you just a few examples. The IFC, the financial arm of the World Bank, predicts that in the next 8 years, the world is going to invest over $30 trillion in green economy in all regions of the world, not just the rich countries, Europe and the United States, but every region is going to see a huge, massive investment in green economy. I think this is a clear indication that this is not a passing fad. This is a long-term trend that is disruptive and it's here to stay, and it's going to shape the world economic order. And then the other thing that I always look at when I try to understand where the money's going is I saw this article recently that I compared how the S&P 500 index, these are the companies that are more traditional and more industrial companies, right? Since COVID started until now, until last month, when you look at the performance of the S&P 500 companies and compare it to the S&P Global Clean Energy Index, these are the companies that are responsible with the environment. It's amazing because in the last 3 years when COVID hit, the clean companies lost less money, were able to recuperate much, much faster, and their profit margins were actually significantly more. In fact, that same study basically said that the green and responsible companies are now 3 years later worth on average almost twice as much as more traditional non-sustainable companies. And I think to me that's it. That demonstrates that investors are recognizing the value of sustainability and that they're willing to pay even a premium for companies that get it, the companies that understand this. And then I can give you more examples, what BlackRock has been doing, the largest investment fund in the world, where they said, hey, we're not going to be investing anymore in companies that do not have a positive impact when it comes to climate change or human or quality of life around the world. And I think also the markets are changing, right? We've seen what has happened to the green bond market. It was basically non-existent 8 years ago, and we have been breaking every record year after year. That to me also shows that there's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of capital available for sustainable investments, and I think that's the message I like to communicate to the people that are listening to us. And then lastly, how consumer behavior is changing, right? There's this wonderful study done by IBM Consumer, which is basically a company that analyzes consumer behavior around the world. And they came to the conclusion that if you give anywhere in the world, on average, to consumers and the choice of selecting or buying a product, same price, same quality, but a product is responsible with the environment and the other one is not, over 92% of customers will always choose the responsible product. So if you want to talk about opportunities, that's the opportunity. Because if our women entrepreneurs are willing to be innovative, to apply technology, to be creative, and find a way to give the market what consumers want, you are going to do very, very well. So to me, this is it. I mean, thank you for the question, because I can't think of a better way to say it. The companies of the future are going to be companies that obviously they're going to have to think about profitability, and they have to think about being, viable. But at the same time, they're going to have to understand what is their relationship with people, consumers, employees, and that ecosystem of people. And third, they're going to have to understand that they do not operate in a vacuum where money is the only criteria. The planet is the third criteria. That allows you to do good and do well.
That's fascinating, and it's encouraging. And you're right. The consumer is smarter. The consumer is younger. They have the spending power, and the private sector has to adapt to the market and to the market needs. Mario, I'm thinking about the storytelling, and I'm fascinated by this. One of the last projects that I did at the IDB was I worked very closely with Charlie Alberti, who's a rock and roller from Argentina, who also happened to be an Apple master and worked very closely with former Vice President Gore. And he created Revolution 21. So we brought him to the IDB annual meeting in Calgary. And he's a Pied Piper of sorts. I mean, he's an influencer that can fill entire stadiums full of young people talking about one of his passions. He's actually also a park ranger in Bariloche. So, using the power of media, using the power of film, using the power of stories, in this particular case, to work on these issues. And Juan, from a business perspective and from a market perspective, has demonstrated to us that there's an appetite, that the consumers, even if they're willing to spend a little bit more, they're willing to do it. Is there a market for this from a film producer's perspective? Is there an audience? Do you see an audience for these type of stories?
Yeah, it's like Natalia says, and the youth is the power of the future, and I think it's the big market. Like Juan also said that the big market is the youth people, and I think one of the things I think we need to do is talk to them in their own language, their own in ways that they understand. And how we can do that is being creative and also try to have more young people in your team, trying to find the best ways to deliver the message, the right information, and talk to them like a day talk every single day. That try to be more simple, more find the better ways to say what we need to say, and also try to encourage them to be responsible, because I feel like one of the big problems that we have with the sustainable and try to basically teach the people to be responsible with the environment and the planet, is try to understand how they think, and once you basically understand a little bit more about the audience, you can basically create a better message for them. One of the things we did during the COVID is we work with we create this campaign and with another company. The campaign was trying to send the message to the Latino community, for example, in Maryland, to get vaccinated and to be prevented to get COVID and all the stuff. So what we did is we create like a focus groups and try to understand what is the most influential person in the family. And we discovered the most influential person in the family for the Latino community is the Grammy or the grandmother. So basically what we did is we create this animated character who was in different situation, different scene, talking about COVID, but in the way that very casual, very casual way. And that works a lot. I mean, actually the Washington Post did this article talking about they think that the reason of the Latino community in the Maryland was vaccinated was because the message we deliver with this campaign, the Abuelina. So saying that, what I'm trying to say is we have to understand the audience. We have to understand the youth people. We have to talk to them in the same language. We have to be creative in how to do that, because the problem, I think, is sometimes the people who want to send the message is disconnect with the audience, and I think that's a big problem. We have to be creative how to connect that to to groups, and I think that can be the option to.
Thank you.
We have just one world. We have just one opportunity. It's not another world. It's not one more opportunity to save the planet with this. I mean, we have to act right now, and we have to be creative, and we have to find the best ways to send the message to the people.
I can't thank you enough for that encouragement, and I'm getting the signals that we have to wrap up soon. And I'm so grateful to both of you for making time in your busy agendas to join me today. Again, thanking the Women Entrepreneurs Forum, and taking into account that it is the Women Entrepreneurs Forum. There will be also a lot of young people here. I want to give you the opportunity, if you have, to synthesize this and give a final message to this group. And it's a friendly one, because we're preaching to the choir, I hope, in this particular case. But if I can ask each of you to go for some closing words, it would be terrific. Juan?
I would simply, first of all, thank you so much for creating this wonderful opportunity for all of us to come together and think strategically about how and why the world will become a better place if we're able to fight climate change and think of sustainability as what it is, a historic opportunity to reset and do things better. So having said that, I would simply say that sustainability and where it's going is an issue of speed, but not direction. The world and the economy will be greener. The economy is going to be a low emissions economy, and that's going to create a vast amount of opportunities for women entrepreneurs, for young people. Just follow the money, understand the trends, and finally, because we have to do this, because it makes perfect ethical, as I said before, ethical and common sense, but it also makes sense from an economic standpoint. It's going to allow us to create wealth for a lot more people, to be more equitable, and of course, we need to do this because we owe it to the next generations.
Thank you, Juan. Well said. Mario?
Well, I just want to say that most of the time that creativity is with art and science, but it's also very important and necessary for business and for responsible business. And creativity applied through innovation can lead your succeed. Let's try to be more responsible. Let's try to think more about the others, more about the planet, and try to be creative to make this world a better place.
Quiero agradecerlos a ambos. I want to thank both of you so very much for joining me on the screen today, and I hope I have the opportunity to thank you both in person really soon. Juan, let us know. Mario and I are here in DC. We're waiting for that cafecito with you.
Absolutely.
We look forward. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Mario, for the great work that you're doing. Thank you so much. And Fabian, thank you for your leadership as well.
Thank you, everyone.
Gracias.
Thank you.